Are any of you here for the first time? First time? You've been here before. I can't always remember. Many years. Okay. I can't always remember who has been and who hasn't. Okay. So welcome. Have you done meditation before? Never. Oh, okay. So what we do here on Thursday night is meditation. It's a meditation class, and we started a couple of months ago. So we've been going a couple of months now. And what we normally do, is the sound okay? Sound is okay? Needs to be closer. So what we normally do is the first part of the session, we do like meditation on the breath, which is a good basic meditation, especially if you haven't done meditation before. It's a good way to start. And I usually start that with a kind of body scan. So just mentally going through the body and relaxing the body, trying to let go of any tension there might be. And then we do the meditation on the breath for maybe 15, 20 minutes. Then we have a pause, and I talk about, so then the second part of the session, we do another meditation, but it's a different one each week, different topic each week. So it's a topic from the Buddhist teachings. So I first talk about it, explain it, and then we do that meditation on that. And that's more of a contemplative meditation, a thinking meditation, using thoughts and ideas to think about something the Buddha taught, to try to have a better understanding of it. Okay, and then at the end, we'll see if there's questions, if you have questions about anything. So let's get started then with sitting. So when we meditate, there are certain points of our posture that it's good to try to observe, to follow, because there is a connection between the body and the mind. And so what we do with our body does have an effect on our mind, on our meditation. So usually in the Buddhist tradition, the Asian traditions, they say it's best if you can sit cross-legged, have your legs crossed. But if that's uncomfortable or painful, it's okay to sit in a chair, or this I don't know what to call this, but kneeling on a bench. Huh? Very good for Tai Chi. Okay. So it is important to be comfortable, to be sitting in a position that's not unbearably painful, so that you just be distracted by pain. So you find a way of sitting that's comfortable for you, and then whichever way you sit, it's good. It's a good idea to try to keep the back straight, sit up straight, but at the same time, let the shoulders relax. Don't have the shoulders kind of tight and tense, but let them drop and be relaxed. And then in the Tibetan tradition, what we do with the hands is to put them in the lap with the right on top of the left, the fingers aligned and the palms facing upwards, and then the two thumbs touching like this. So this is how it's done in the Tibetan tradition, but if you have learned another way of holding your hands that you want to use, that's okay too. I think they all have some value. So we put our hands like that, and then just let them rest in the lap. And again, let your arms relax and be comfortable. And then the head shouldn't be held up too high nor bent down too low, but just slightly bent downwards. The reason for that is they say if we have our head up too high, that can cause the mind to have more sort of agitated thoughts, busy thoughts. And if it's too low, that can cause the mind to be kind of dull and sleepy. So just a kind of in between those two. Not too high, not too low, but just a little bit bent downwards. And then let your mouth and jaw be relaxed. Ideally, you should breathe in and out through the nose, through the nostrils rather than the mouth. So the mouth should be closed, and then you're breathing in and out through the nose. And it's also a good idea to let the tip of the tongue touch the roof of the mouth behind the upper teeth. So placing the tongue there can help to reduce the need to swallow. You don't need to swallow so much. Swallowing can become a kind of distraction when meditating. So, so if you can leave your tongue there, it might be helpful. And then you can close your eyes if you wish, but it's said that if you close your eyes, there's a somewhat risk of becoming sleepy and dull, having a kind of dull, sleepy state of mind. So we don't want that to happen. We want the mind to be very awake and alert, bright. And it's said that keeping the eyes open a little bit, just looking down onto the floor in front of you, there's some light coming into your eyes, and that can help the mind to be more awake and alert. So you can try that. If it's very difficult or very uncomfortable, then it's okay to let your eyes close. But just be aware if you are starting to fall asleep. And if that is happening, then to prevent that or counteract that, you can open the eyes a little bit. So those are the recommended points of the posture for sitting. And if you can sit that way, it's said to be very conducive for meditation. But if any part of that position is difficult or painful or even impossible for you, it's okay to find some other way of sitting that is comfortable for you, that works for you. So there's no kind of hard and fast rules about how to sit. And you can even meditate lying down or standing up or walking around. So there's all kinds of possibilities. But here we're going to be doing meditation while sitting. So before we actually begin the meditation, let's see if we can generate a good motivation, a positive motivation for being here and doing meditation. So we always have some kind of motivation for the things that we do. We're not always aware of what our motivation is, but there's something inside of us, something inside of our mind that pushes us, that motivates us to do things. So you might just take a few moments and ask yourself, why are you here tonight? What is it that motivated you to come here? So according to Buddhism, the best motivation that we can have for doing things, whether it's meditation or anything else we do, is altruism, meaning wanting to help others, caring about others, wanting to help them have less suffering and problems, wanting to help them have more peace and happiness. So if we can do meditation or anything we do, if we can do things with that motivation, then it becomes really valuable and really beneficial, both for ourselves and for others. So you may already have that kind of motivation in your mind. That's your reason for being here. But even if you don't, it's possible to bring that into your mind, to generate that motivation in your mind. So I think we do all feel that way sometimes. We do feel open-hearted, concerned, caring for others, for our family, for our friends, for people we work with, for neighbors. Sometimes we can have a really open heart and care about more people than our immediate surroundings. We can care about all the people in our city, all the people in our country, all the people in the world. So if you did ever have that kind of feeling, try to remember it and see if you can bring it back in your mind now. That that open-hearted feeling of caring for others, wanting to bring more happiness, more peace, more benefit to others. And even if you're not able to really generate that feeling in a genuine way, we can also just say words to ourselves. For example, may what I'm doing here tonight, learning about meditation and practicing meditation, may this bring benefit. May it be helpful to me and to others, to all people, to the world. So you can use those words or you can use other words that feel right for you. So even to just say words like that can help to steer the mind more in the direction of altruism. Okay, so with that as our motivation, let's begin by doing a body scan. So I'm just going to mention different parts of the body, starting from the top of the head and going down. Just let your awareness go to that part of the body and feel whatever sensations you might feel there. And if you notice any tension, see if you can let go of the tension. You could imagine that it melts and flows away, flows out of you and disappears, or whatever can help you to let go of the tension. So first feel the top of your head. Let that area relax. And then feel your forehead. Let that be relaxed and smooth, free of worry lines, worry wrinkles. Then feel your eyes and relax the muscles around the eyes and behind the eyes. Let your eyes relax completely. But still, if you can, leave them open a little bit to help you stay awake and alert. And then relax the other muscles in your face. all the muscles we use when we make expressions with our face. So let all those muscles relax. But you might like to keep a bit of a smile on your mouth, your lips. That too can help to be more relaxed. And relax the right side of the head. And then the back of the head. And the left side of the head. And then the inside of the head. So sometimes we might have tension, like headaches, inside of our head. If there is any tension inside the head, see if you can let it go, let it relax, melt and flow away. Next, move your awareness down into your neck and throat. And let that area relax. And then from there, move into the upper part of the back, the shoulder blades and muscles. So that's an area where we often have tightness and tension, especially if we're sitting at a desk, working on a computer, and so on. If there's any tension in that area, see if you can let it go, let it melt and flow away. And then let the awareness continue moving down through your back. Relax the middle part of the back. And the lower part of the back. All the way down to your seat. Again, do the best you can to let go of any tension in your back. You can imagine it melting, flowing out of you, sinking into the earth beneath us, disappearing there. Now let's do the front part of the body. So bring your awareness to your chest. Relax that area, including the inside of the chest, where we have our lungs, our heart, and muscles in that area. So let that whole area relax, let go of any tension. And let the awareness drift down further into the area of the diaphragm, where again we have various internal organs and muscles. So let that area relax. And by the way, just let your breathing be natural. Let the breath flow in and out in a natural rhythm without trying to interfere with it or control it in any way. Just let your body really breathe naturally. And again, let the awareness move down further into the abdominal area. And relax that area, including all the internal organs and muscles. That's an area where we sometimes have tension. If there's some emotional disturbances like anxiety, stress, fear, and so on. So if there's any tension in that area, see if you can let it go, let it melt, flow out of you and sink into the earth. And then from there, let your awareness move down into your right leg and relax the upper part of the leg. And the middle, then the lower part of the leg. And then the ankle and the foot, all the way down to the toes. So let your whole right leg be relaxed. And then do the same with the left leg. Bring your awareness to the upper part of the leg. Relax that area. And then the lower part of the leg. And then the ankle, the foot, and toes. So let your whole left leg and foot be relaxed as much as you can. Then the right arm, bring your awareness to the upper part of the arm. Relax that area. And then the lower part of the right arm. And the hand and fingers. And the left arm. First the upper part. And the lower part. And the hand and fingers. So we've briefly gone through the whole body and tried our best to relax all the different areas. Even if there's still some tension remaining somewhere, don't worry about it. That's not going to help. Just let it be. And if during the meditation, if you notice tension popping up somewhere in the body, you just put your attention, your awareness at that place and consciously tell it to relax, let it go. But now we're going to mainly focus our awareness on the breath, the breathing. So you can do that in whatever way works best for you. Buddha, when he taught this practice, he just said, observe the breath, be aware of the breath. He didn't explain a specific way to do it. So you can find your own way. The important thing is to stay with the breath Try to stay aware of each full inhalation of the breath and then the exhalation of the breath and any pauses in between the inhalation and the exhalation. Just try to keep your awareness there on the breath, not wandering away. However, that's not easy to do because our mind doesn't normally stay on one thing for more than a few seconds. So there will be thoughts popping up, and you'll notice sounds or other sensations in your body, or memories, or feelings, emotions. So it's completely normal that those will happen. The point is to try to avoid getting completely distracted, completely carried away by them. But even if that does happen, which it probably will, just disengage your mind, your awareness from that other object and bring it back to the breath. So you might have to do this again and again and again, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. That itself is meditation. Whenever you notice your mind has wandered away from the object, the breath, you gently bring it back. Gently meaning don't beat yourself up, get upset with yourself. Stay patient and kind and friendly towards yourself, towards your mind, towards your experiences. Similar to the way you would be looking after a little child who's very energetic and playful and running here and there. So it doesn't help to get angry and upset at the child or hit it or yell at it. Instead, you just have to be very patient and just keep bringing the mind, the awareness back to the breath whenever it wanders away. It can be helpful to make mental notes about what you notice in your experience, like thought or memory, sound or pain, sadness or boredom. So whatever it is you notice happening in your experience, you can just make a mental note of it and then let it go, put it aside, and come back to the breath. All these experiences are temporary or transitory. They don't last. They're like clouds coming and going in the sky. They will pass. Just make these mental notes and then come back to the breath. It's helpful if you can see the breath in a kind of positive way, like a friend that helps you to calm down and not be so stressed, or as like home, place that you keep coming back to be in the present, right here, right now, in your body, in your mind. So if we can see the breath as something helpful and friendly, then we're happy to keep coming back to it when our mind wanders away. So we have just a few more minutes of the meditation. So really try to use these last few minutes to stay with the breath as much as you can and come back to it when the mind wanders off. So I think we sometimes may have this expectation, or maybe it's like wishful thinking, that when we practice meditation, we should feel really good, really calm and peaceful and positive. And sometimes that might happen. Sometimes we might feel that way when we're meditating, but not always. So at other times, we may feel anything but calm and peaceful. We might feel agitated and restless and troubled and disturbed. And one reason for that, this anyway, just to let you know, if this ever happens to you, don't feel bad. It's normal. It happens to everybody. So it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you and you should feel ashamed of yourself. It's completely normal. One reason this can happen is because there might be a kind of struggle going on inside, a sort of conflict. For example, there might be some kind of thought or feeling that we don't really want to be there. You know, we feel like, oh, I don't want that. I don't want to be that way. I don't want to feel that way. And so it's there, but we're trying to resist it. We're trying to push it away or maybe deny it or anyway. So it becomes a kind of struggle, like a conflict. Like for example, maybe there's a feeling of irritation, of dislike, of anger towards somebody. And it might be a friend. It might be, someone you really care about. And you think, oh, I shouldn't feel this way towards that person. He's my friend. She's my friend. Okay, so that feeling is there. That anger or irritation is there. But then another part of your mind is kind of saying, no, I shouldn't be that way. I shouldn't feel that way. It's wrong. It's bad. We're trying to tell it to go away, get lost, leave me alone. I don't want you. So it all becomes like very disturbed and agitated. Does that make sense what I'm saying? And it doesn't help. That kind of reaction to like negative thought or feeling doesn't really help. It just makes things worse. So instead it's better to just acknowledge, to just be honest, be genuine about what's really going on. Just acknowledge, admit there's anger or there's irritation or whatever it may be that you think is wrong or bad and you shouldn't have. So just accept it. It's there. And if you can do that, it really, really helps your mind to calm down and be peaceful. Now, I don't know if you noticed it, but the language I was using was saying there is that. There is anger. There is irritation or whatever it may be. You can fill in the blank. There is blah. As opposed to I am angry or I am irritated. There's a difference. For one thing, if we say I am angry, I am irritated, then we're identifying ourselves with that particular state of mind, that particular emotion. And that sort of gives it more power, more energy, more solidity, more reality, which makes it harder to deal with, harder to work with. On the other hand, if we say, you can use your own words, but this is what I do. I say, there is anger in the mind, or there is fear, or whatever it is. There is that, or that is there. Okay, that's a different way of talking about it, a different kind of language. It's taking the I out, taking out the I, removing the I, and instead seeing it as just a state of mind, just a mental state, a mental event. This is actually the way Buddhism explains our experiences. Buddhism says that every moment there are different experiences popping up in our mind, different thoughts, different feelings, different emotions. And they don't last. They're not permanent. They just come and they go, like bubbles, like clouds. They're impermanent. They're transitory. They come and they go. They come and they go. We can actually see that if we watch our mind. We watch very carefully. We can see that these experiences come and go. They're not permanent. They might come and go and then later come back again. But even if they do come back, it's not the same one. It's not the same experience that was there before. It's a new one. So it's similar, but not the same. And so this is what our mind is made of. This is what our mind is all about. It's just this constantly moving and changing stream of mental states, mental events, a thought about this, a memory about that, a feeling about that, just one after another, popping up and disappearing, coming and going. And there's actually no I that is doing all of this. It seems like there is, but that's an illusion. There's no I that thinks. There's no I that feels. There's no I that does things with the mind. It goes here and there and has this experience and that experience. There are only these experiences coming and going without an I, a separate I who's doing all of this. Now, this isn't easy to understand. This is actually one of the most difficult ideas in Buddhism. But even to have a little bit of a tiny understanding of this can be very helpful. Because if we take the I away, then the whole thing becomes much more relaxed, not so intense. When the I is there, it's very intense. Take the I away, then it's much more relaxed. So I'm just talking about this, but try it for yourself and see what kind of effect it has. And you can do it during meditation, but you can also do it at other times when you're at work or with people or whatever, watching TV, and you notice something coming up in your mind, maybe a feeling of anger or feeling of fear or feeling of sadness or depression, to just say to yourself, that is there, that is in my mind. Fear is in my mind, anger is in my mind, agitation is in my mind, whatever it is, just say that is there in my mind and try to really accept it instead of, oh, this is bad, this is terrible, I shouldn't feel this way, I shouldn't be this way, I'm really awful, I'm so ashamed of myself, I'm guilty, I'm bad, all those kind of things. So try to leave those things aside and just accept it. It may not be easy to do. It may not be so easy to do, but if you can just accept it, accept that it's there, then you'll probably find it will pass or go away or disappear more quickly. It's when we resist it, we're trying to resist it, not accept it, get into a conflict with it. That's when it becomes, like a big struggle, a big war, a big battle. Then it's very agitating. But if we just accept it, acknowledge it, it will go. At least more quickly than otherwise. Because again, all these experiences in our mind are not permanent. Remember the analogy of clouds in the sky. They come and they go. They come and they go. They're not permanent. You don't have to get upset about a particular cloud that looks ugly or you don't like it. It's not going to stay in the sky. It's going to go. It's going to disappear. So just leave it and it'll go away by itself. So try this. Try it out. See if it helps. It's and again, you can do it during meditation. You can also do it outside of meditation. It may not always work. Sometimes you may need other tools, other methods, other techniques to deal with. If it's something really strong anger or fear or whatever, you might need something else. But sometimes just this method alone is enough. Just give an awareness, an acceptance, an acknowledgement in a loving kind of way, in a friendly kind of way, rather than an angry and aggressive, argumentative kind of way. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Yeah, it can be very helpful in dealing with especially these kind of unpleasant, disturbing thoughts or emotions that we wish weren't there in us, but the fact is they are. Another thing that's helpful is to just think that I'm not the only one who feels this way. Yeah, everybody, all the ordinary people like me, not Buddhas maybe, but ordinary people like me, they all have these kinds of thoughts. That helps too. Sometimes we might have this kind of idea, this imagination, oh, I'm the only one who thinks this way. I'm the only one who feels this way. Nobody else feels this way. That's not true. It's not true. Everybody. I mean, if you start talking to people intimately, you will find out, oh, yeah, they feel this way too. So that helps too, to not feel so bad, not take it so seriously. And even be able to laugh about it, to have a sense of humor about it. sometimes I teach these courses on working with emotions, and we do it in a kind of retreat situation. So we're there all day long and doing meditations and teachings and discussion and so forth. So we're looking at disturbing emotions like anger and jealousy and pride and attachment and so forth. And I usually, it's, you know, one time in the day, get ask the people to break up into little groups and discuss what we're talking about. And there's always a lot of laughter because people are sharing. They're sharing things with each other that they may not normally share with other people, things they feel very ashamed of and very, oh, this is so terrible. I'm like this and it's so terrible. So they talk about this with each other, and they find out everybody feels the same way. Everybody has the same problems. And I think it gives so much relief to find that out, that they're able to laugh about it. So it's quite helpful. Any questions about what I just said or the meditation that we did?
Yeah, I want to ask, in the beginning when you were trying to develop altruism,
Yeah.
I was thinking that it's much easier, like especially if it's for your country, it's much easier in a time of war when you have an enemy, and then you feel very defensive about your country, and then you can include the whole country. I guess that's under patriotism or whatever, but it's very powerful. I can remember in the 9/11 in the States, everyone was having flags, proud to be in America, and on the car. It kind of just united the whole country. And then I was wondering, how can you do that without an enemy?
Yeah.
In Christianity, you have the devil. You always have the devil.
Yeah, yeah, that's
But could you say ignorance is the enemy, or could you use
yeah.
your mind voice instead of that?
Yeah, I mean that's what Buddhism says, that the real enemy is inside of us, not out there, over there, some guy, some people,
Yeah.
but it's our own disturbing emotions, our anger, our greed, our ignorance, our pride, our jealousy, and so forth. So it's these states of mind within us, and we are all in the same situation. You know, all of us, all beings who are not Buddhas, we're not enlightened, we all have these problems. So in that way, we can we can think about how we are all suffering. We are all in the same boat. We say, you know, we are all in the same
You
boat.
said that the word jihad also
Mm,
ultimately refers to the inner enemy, the war against the holy war against the inner enemy.
yeah.
But
Yeah, he has Muslim friends
yeah,
who really know the Quran and Islam very, very well, and they say that is the real meaning of jihad. It's not external enemies that you have to fight and kill, but the internal ones. So I think if you really go into the esoteric um, aspects of any religion, I think you would find the same. In Christianity as well, I'm sure. You know, they say the real devil is inside of our mind, not out there. But maybe for some people that's hard to understand. So it can be helpful to, depict some external thing, but it's really inside of ourselves. So that's what we need to work on and overcome and become free from. Yeah.
Kind of a difficult question, I suppose. I think it is. The whole idea of acceptance. You see acceptance a little bit. You can talk in terms of causality. You can talk leads and lags. You have certain things that give rise to other things. And for me, at least, acceptance can seem like a bit of a lag factor.
A what factor?
Lag factor, like a lagging factor to something else.
Lag.
Meaning that you achieved something because of something else. And what I mean is that acceptance for me is something that I can achieve, um, but it is rarely a lead factor. It is rarely something that I mean, I can find it very difficult to say, I will accept this. for me, sometimes it seems like there's a missing link in there. I don't know if this is making any sense, but it's a little bit like Buddhism or and many other sort of Eastern traditions. You like to talk about letting go, uh, and letting go is a little bit of the same as acceptance as I see it. But how do you let go? How do you accept? It seems like I would like there to be some sense of deconstruction of what that means. You know, put it into smaller pieces so that I can better learn like how do I actually do this, because I find it very difficult to do. And it's sometimes just sitting and saying, I accept that these things are here, or I accept that there is anger. It's like the jump is too far. Do you understand what I mean?
Well, then it could be useful to try to explore your own mind and ask yourself, why do I have difficulty accepting that? Yeah. What is this gap that's lying between where you are and acceptance? Try to explore, what is this gap? What is this obstacle? This chasm, that I can't just cross over. So just explore that. I don't know. That's what I do. I like.
And you look for might be stupid, but do you look for answers in that, or is it more sort of
Yeah.
continuously asking the question and then just seeing what appears?
Well, I don't know. For me, because I've been doing this for 40 years now, it's sort of an ongoing process of learning about myself, discovering things about myself. I mean, I get help from different sources, Buddhism and different other, spiritual teachers and so on. So I'll be reading something and then it's like, oh, yeah, that sounds like what I need. Yeah. So it's not always just on my own, finding the answers, but some of it is. Some of it finding answers within myself, but some of it is help from other sources. But even if you read or hear material from outside, you still have to incorporate that into yourself, into your own experience, and make it your own experience. And that might require some adjustment. And how do I deal with this? How do I relate to this? So that's just how it is for me. I mean, I can recommend a book. There's a book about acceptance. It's called Radical Acceptance. Yeah. Have you read it?
No,
That's really good. It really deals with this whole issue of acceptance, what it means and what it doesn't mean, and why it's helpful, and so on and so forth. So,
Who said buy that book?
Tara Brach, Brach. She's an American psychologist, but she's also, I guess she would consider herself a Buddhist and meditation teacher. It's very, very helpful. And it has lots of examples from her own life and from her patients and what it means to accept and how it is helpful. So I've read that book at least twice. I find it very helpful. Yeah.
I followed an online program last year with Tara Brach,
Mm.
one of the teachers,
Mm.
and she said this one thing that I found incredibly helpful in relation to acceptance. She said always start with what's on top. So if you're working on accepting something and you find it hard to accept it, and I guess a little bit along the lines what you started saying, like instead of starting to beat yourself up about, well, I can't accept this, I'm such a bad person, then start with accepting, can you start with accepting that this is hard for you to accept? So always, that's what you meant, I think.
Yeah.
Start with what's on top.
The thing that's we say the front burner. Deal with that one first, and then you can get to the subtler ones, the deeper ones. Yeah. Yeah, and also to start with the easier ones. If there's something that's really, really hard to accept and you're really struggling trying to accept it, then maybe put that one aside for now and try to start with something a little easier. I can accept the fact that whatever, I'm grumpy today, as opposed to accepting something that's been part of you for your whole life and, is really, really, really deeply rooted inside of you. Just accept something small and then getting more experience with that, getting more experience with accepting makes it easier to accept the really big stuff, the heavy stuff, the deep stuff. Maybe that's helpful too.
And be there is grumpiness today rather than
Yeah.
grumpy.
Well, whatever. Yeah. Oh, there's grumpiness in my mind today. Yeah. And sometimes I find just by saying that to myself, it goes away. Not always, but sometimes, just as soon as you accept something, that gives it the chance to leave. Sometimes, yeah. Hmm. Okay, so I wanted to move on, if it's okay. Tonight, I wanted to lead a meditation on karma. And this actually does have a connection with what we did last week. Last week, we did a meditation on death, which is a huge topic on its own. And if you were here last week and you did do that meditation, and if it was your first time confronting this topic of death, then you might have felt some discomfort, some unease, even some fear coming up. And that's completely normal. I mean, death is a scary thing. I think we all have some fear of death. And if that fear does come up in meditation or just by thinking about it or hearing about death, it's not a bad thing. Because I think the thing is, we do have fear of death. There is fear of death. And it's quite understandable that we have fear of death. And one of the reasons for meditating on death is so that we start to accept this fear instead of avoiding it or, pretending it's not there, denying it. It's better to face it while we're still alive, while we still have some time, hopefully, that we can learn how to deal with that fear, how to deal with fear instead of being overwhelmed by it. Because if we don't confront it now while we're still alive and we wait till the last moment, just before we die, and then the fear comes up and we may not know how to deal with it then. And it could be overwhelming and it could be, a really difficult death. So from the Buddhist point of view, it's better to face the reality of death and whatever feelings or difficulties we have about death, to face it now and start working with it. Start learning how to deal with those things, how to become more comfortable with death and less fearful of death, which definitely is possible. We can do that. So to start working on that now and not wait till the last minute. So from the Buddhist point of view, the real reason, the main reason for thinking about death and meditating on death is so that we feel the need to do something to prepare ourselves for it, to be ready for death when it happens. And one of the from the Buddhist point of view, but I don't think it's only Buddhism. I think we find similar ideas in all religions. From the Buddhist point of view, one of the main things we want to learn from facing the reality of death is that it's important to live our life in a certain way so that we will be prepared for death. We will be able to die relatively calm and peaceful and not overcome by fear and worry, regret, guilt, all these kind of things. And instead be able to have a dignified death, a death in which our mind is as calm and peaceful as possible, and even happy. It's even possible to be happy at the time of death. People do it. My mother, of all people, she was so cheerful, happy, calm, peaceful. And so it's not impossible. It's possible. It's doable, something we can do. So one of the things Buddhism says we need to be careful about in our life is karma. The reason for that is karma, meaning action, is the main cause for the kind of experiences that we have. So whatever kind of experiences we have, as we go through life and as we face death, and then after death, because according to Buddhism, we don't just stop existing, but we'll have more experiences after death. So the cause for those experiences is the karma that we create now. Basically, we can divide karma into good karma and bad karma. So bad karma would be the cause for bad experiences, like being frightened, being unhappy, having pain, and so forth. So this is the result of our own karma. On the other hand, good karma would be the cause for good experiences, like being happy, being cheerful, being positive, being able to have love and compassion in our heart rather than selfishness and fear and worry and being all obsessed with ourselves and so on. So, so I thought we could do a meditation on karma. There's a meditation found in the Lamrim, the teachings on the path to enlightenment, which involves meditating on just the general principles of karma. There's said to be 4 general principles of karma, just so that we can, I think the idea is to become more convinced, more aware of how karma works, how it operates in our life, how it is part of our life, whether we believe it or not. Sometimes people think, well, if I don't believe in karma, then maybe it doesn't happen. If that was true, then it would have been better for the Buddha not to talk about karma. Because once we, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't know about karma, if you're totally ignorant, unaware of karma, then you're free of it. It doesn't operate. You don't have to worry about it. So if that was true, then it's better not to know about karma, right? It's better not to have anyone tell you about karma, because as soon as you know about it, then then you're creating karma and you're experiencing the result of it. So that doesn't make any sense. So according to Buddhism, karma is there. Karma operates whether we know about it or not. And it's better to know about karma, because then we can have more choice, more freedom, more control over our life, our experiences. Because basically that's what karma is all about. We are responsible. We are the creators of our own experiences, not some heavenly being, but this one. So we do actions, and the actions we do create the causes for experiences that we will have in the future. So we are the main creators of our experiences. And if we can accept that, and if we think, oh, I want good experiences, not bad ones, well, then we are responsible for making that happen. We are responsible for creating the right causes, doing the right actions to have those experiences, and avoid as much as we can. It's hard to have completely pure karma and never create any bad one, but at least we try not to create bad karma, because that's the cause of suffering. Okay, so let's if you want to take a few minutes to stand up and stretch, and before we start the meditation, you can do so. If you're feeling uncomfortable, and feel free to grab more pillows if if you need more. need to think about it and analyze it and try to see if it's true or not. See for ourselves if what he says is true. So it's good to keep thinking and checking, investigating again and again. So we'll start doing that tonight, thinking about these 4 general principles of karma. So start by making yourselves comfortable. But again, try to keep your back straight. That helps the mind be more clear, focused, concentrated. And if you're feeling a bit sleepy, it can be helpful to leave the eyes open a little bit and not completely closed. So just let yourself settle down in this position, and also let your mind settle down in case you have thoughts in your mind, like thinking about something from the past or thinking about something from the future, plans you have for tonight or tomorrow or any time in the future. So try to put those thoughts aside for now and just let your mind, your awareness be right here and now, right in this present place and present moment. So we're going to be meditating on karma to try to have a better understanding of karma. The word karma means action. And there are different ways that we do actions or create karma. One is with our body, so what we do physically with our body. The second way is with our speech, speaking words, or communicating in other ways, like with emails or letters or whatever. The third way we create karma is with our mind, with our thoughts, with mental activity. So each time we do something, we do an action with our body or our speech or our mind, we create karma. And that means an imprint is left on our mind. And then sometime in the future, if no other causes or conditions intervene, that imprint will ripen or manifest in the form of some experience that we have. So that's generally what karma means, how karma works. And the first general principle of karma is that it is definite, meaning that there's a definite correlation between an action that is done and the result that it brings, in the sense that if we do something positive, good, the result will be good. If we do something bad, the result will be bad, suffering, problems. So this is similar to what we see in nature. Like if you have a garden and in the springtime you plant seeds, so maybe you plant tomato seeds in one part of the garden and you plant cucumber seeds in another place. So the tomato seeds will give rise to tomatoes. the cucumber seeds will give rise to cucumbers. It's not the other way around. You don't get cucumbers from tomato seeds, and you don't get tomatoes from cucumber seeds. So in a similar way, when we create karma, it's like planting seeds in our mind. So if we plant good seeds, positive seeds, by doing good things, then the result, what will come later in the future, will be good experiences, happiness, peaceful, pleasant experiences, good things. On the other hand, if we plant bad seeds, like we do hurtful things, negative things, the result will be problems, suffering, painful experiences. So just spend some time thinking about that, trying to understand it, and asking yourself if you can agree, if you can accept that this is true or not. We can also think about this in terms of our experiences now and what causes we created in the past in order to have these. So if we have good experiences now, like from the point of view of Buddhism, just being born as a human being is a good thing. And then having enough wealth or money or resources so that we're not homeless and starving, this is also a good thing. Having freedom, having a healthy body, an intelligent mind, access to education and jobs and so forth. So these are good things. So it means we must have created good karma in the past that we have these results now. And on the other hand, when we have problems, when bad things happen to us, if we get sick or we lose a job or something is stolen from us or somebody hurts us. So these kind of experiences are the result of harmful things, hurtful things, bad things that we did in the past. Again, see if you can accept that, or if you have some difficulty or doubt about that idea. And then the second general principle of karma is that it increases. This means that when we do one action, create a karma, it's not the case that it will bring only one result, but it will bring many results. So this again is similar to what we see in nature. when you plant one seed, like one tomato seed, it will give rise to a plant that has many branches and leaves, and then many tomatoes will grow, all from just one seed. So it's similar with karma. One action, whether it's a good one or a bad one, can lead to many results. Some may occur in this lifetime, some in the next life, some in other lives. So again, see if you can understand that, accept that, if it's true or not, or if you have any doubts or questions about it. And then the third general principle is if we don't do an action, we don't create a particular kind of karma, we will not experience its result. So this is again like what happens in nature. If you don't plant seeds, you won't get the crops. You might sit there and wish and pray that you will have tomatoes growing in your garden. But if you don't actually plant the seeds and then take care of them, you won't have tomatoes growing there. So this means that if we want certain good results, positive results in the future, we have to create the right causes, create the right karma for them. And if we don't want to have certain bad results, bad things happening to us, we have to make sure that we don't create the cause of those. Then the fourth principle of karma is it doesn't get lost, it doesn't disappear. This means that if we create an action, create a karma, that means a kind of seed or imprint is left in our mind. That imprint will stay in our mind unless, and there might be certain conditions that would eliminate it, but otherwise it will stay in our mind, and even when we die and our mind goes to the next life, that those karmic seeds will go with it until sometime in the future, which could be thousands of years or millions of years away. When the right conditions come together, then that karmic seed will ripen and bring its result. So karmic seeds, karmic imprints stay in the mind until they meet with the right conditions for them to arise. Now, there are exceptions to this. We can purify negative karma. It's not like fate. There are things we can do to purify negative karma that we've created. And with positive karma, that can also be lost. under certain circumstances, such as getting really, really angry, having strong anger, or developing very strong mistaken views about things. So that can damage or destroy good karma. Otherwise, the karma stays in our mind and goes with the mind into the future and brings our future experiences. Okay, so this has just been a brief reflection on karma and its general principles, how it works. There's a lot of details about karma that we don't have the time to go into tonight. But there are books, there's materials, resources where you can learn more about the details of karma if you are interested. But we'll stop here with the meditation and with the class. And before we end, let's do a dedication of the positive energy we have created here tonight by coming together and generating an altruistic reason or motivation for being here tonight. And then doing these meditations and having discussion and so on. So, by doing these things, we have created good karma, merit. This is like the cause for happiness in the future, the cause for spiritual growth along the path towards liberation and enlightenment. So, the best thing we can do with this positive energy is share it with others, wishing that it will bring happiness and peace, liberation and enlightenment, not only to ourselves, but to others as well, to all living beings. We'll just take a few moments to generate that wish that the positive energy we've created here tonight will spread out from here and reach all beings everywhere and help them be free of suffering, help them find peace and happiness. So, because of shortage of time, we couldn't go into details about karma. There's a lot of details, actually. It's a big subject. But this is just a sort of introduction to the whole idea of karma. And then next week's meditation, we'll do, I'll talk about the practice of purification, how we can purify negative karma, and we'll do a practice of that together so you can learn how to do it. That's very useful. We can't help but create bad karma. It's, it's just normal. And also in the past, things we've done earlier in our life, we created some bad karma there. So it's good to know there's a way to purify that karma so we don't have to experience bad results from it. So we'll do that next week. And also, if you have a copy of my book, How to Meditate, there's one whole chapter on karma where it goes into more detail with this meditation that we did tonight, just briefly. And also another chapter on purification with the 4 powers. So if you're interested, you can read up on that. Any last questions before we finish?
Yeah, is there any mechanism to know when karmas come up? You said some may come up in 1,000,000 years, some come up. And is it, I mean, what, it's, I see it as like these bottles in the bottom of a champagne glass, and some come up, some wait till later, but I just wonder what determines that?
No, I haven't heard any explanation of that. I mean, they say that only a Buddha is able to know all the details of
Yeah.
karma, like what action done millions of years ago is the cause for this thing to be happening now. So, but have you heard of Edgar Casey?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he had he had this ability to, in case you haven't heard of him, he was this American guy. He lived in the early part of the 1900s. And he had this ability to, like, somebody would be sick, for example, they'd be having some kind of problem, and he would be able to tell them what was the karmic cause of what's happening to them and what they need to do to clear up that karma. And he helped a lot of people, a huge number of people. Sometimes they would write letters to him and tell him about their problem, and he would. He had some psychic ability. It was a psychic ability that he had. But yeah, he was a Christian, so he didn't even believe in karma and past lives. And yet all this information was just coming, I don't know if it was just coming into his mind or he had some medium that he was talking to. I don't know. But anyway, it worked, whatever it was. A lot of people were helped by him, by finding out what was the karmic cause of their present problem. Yeah. So, but no, I don't think there is a fixed mechanism as to, why that karma ripens now and some other karma ripens later. I think it probably just depends on many different factors and causes and conditions.
I was thinking about my credit card too, that you can pay your karma or you can pay your bill off in one payment, like in a month, or you can pay it off in little payments over a long period of time. I guess karma works like that too. It can be one action can be spread out in little reactions, or it can be one big bang.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, the ideal is eventually we want to get free of karma.
Sure.
We want to get to the point where we're not creating it anymore and we're not experiencing it in results. So otherwise it's like we're always in debt. We're always, having debts. So
But if
that's not
someone was
comfortable.
actually able not to create any karma at all, I mean, neither good or bad, wouldn't they just disappear? I mean, they wouldn't be able to become a Buddha. Wouldn't they just become extinct?
No. No. I mean, a Buddha still does actions. Okay.
Yeah,
A Buddha does actions,
good
but they
karma.
don't call it, well, they don't use the word karma anymore for a Buddha. They have another term for it, a special term for what a Buddha does. They call it chinlei, which means skillful means. So a Buddha does do actions, and there are results of the Buddha's actions, but it's something different than karma because
There's
a Buddha no
attachment to
longer.
the actions.
There's no ego, there's no ignorance, there's no hatred, there's no greed, there's none of the delusions. So karma usually is involved with delusions, with mistaken states of mind. Yeah.
The question I asked many Grundmachs is not easy to understand and never got the answer to me satisfied is that when everything that exists is just the result of a cause.
Is what? Everything that exists is.
Yeah, if everything that exists is just the result of a cause.
Result of a cause.
Yes, that's what the karmic laws say. Right?
Yeah.
So the question is, what is the cause of the karmic law?
It's just like a natural law. It's just,
That's
it's always
I heard,
there. It's always been there.
I heard that answer before.
Yeah.
I asked it in Batman. It happens automatically, Rinpoche said. But that was not satisfying because if everything, yeah, that is existing has a cause, then also the karmic laws must have a cause.
Mm-hmm.
Why
Well,
is there karma? That's so to ask it in a simple way. Why does this exist?
I mean,
Why
it's
is it
just,
there here? We have a reason for that.
yeah.
Why is the karmic law there? There must be a
Well, I
reason.
think it's just, I mean, most of the things in the world, in the universe, operate by cause and effect. Whether you don't have to use the word karma, but like, seeds and plants, they come into existence. When the causes and conditions are there, they arise. So it's just like a natural law that just has always been and always will be. Causes give rise to effects. It's just a natural law. So karma is one type of that natural law, and it has to do with, I mean, karma is only created by beings, by human beings or sentient beings. We don't talk about, a tree growing isn't the result of karma. So a tree growing is not the result of karma. It's not that the tree created the karma to grow, but it's human beings who have minds, who have consciousness. So it's a particular type of phenomena that occurs within our mind when we have ignorance and other kinds of delusions. We do actions, and then as a result of that, there will be experiences arising later. And they say, Buddhism says there's no beginning to this whole process. Our minds have no beginning. They've been always existing, and they've always been creating karma and experiencing the results of karma. There was no beginning to it all. Maybe that's what you're trying to find out. You're trying to find where did all this begin and why did it begin? But Buddhism says there is no beginning. It's a hard one. That's a hard one to accept. But on the other hand, how can you posit a beginning without something that being there before? Yeah. So there's always something that had to be there before in order for that to begin. And then what was the what was the cause of that? And what was the cause of that? And so on and so forth. Like, many people, the theistic religions, they say God is the creator of everything. But then you ask them, well, where did God come from? Who created God? What do they say? Oh, he was always there. So it's very hard to posit some kind of beginning before which there was nothing. There's always something before.
Maybe it's a circle.
Well, anyway, I would like to stop here. And if you'd like to have a tea and coffee and so on upstairs and talk, we can. But this will be enough for the class tonight. And whatever questions you have, we'll try to take care of them next week. Thank you. Good night.